Hey, what's up, Loren? Quick demo video for you for your Corran horn made by Nevin over at Space Junk Sabers. So just got this done this morning. This is amazing hilt, man. Everything that he does is a one of one, and they all come out unique. So I think you got a really nice piece here, and it was my pleasure to install it. But I wanted to go over some things with you just so you understand what you're getting, right? So this is installed with the CFX. It is a 2-button setup, so you can see your 2 switches right here. Your switch that's going to be closest to your hand, that's going to be your activation switch. And then this one over here to the right, or up towards the emitter, that's going to be your auxiliary. You do have CCSabers LED pixels in here. So what I did was I made this an all-in-one chassis. It's not going to come out because the chassis slides. Well, let me just take the handle off and then we can go over it. So let's just go over the outside first. So you've got a custom chassis by me, right? Says Solo Sabers here in Arabesh, Smuggler's Outpost emblem. It does say Space Junk Sabers over here for Nevin. You got a 28mm bass speaker. Your CFX board is right here, easy access to your SD card, and then a removable battery system here. So the spring side being your negative. So this is a bit of a tight fit. There was not enough room to put board and then battery. I needed to put the board on top of the battery. And in order for me to do that, you know, it just became a little bit of a tight squeeze in here, but I did get it. But because of that, I did put just a few drops of glue on each side of this board before I pressed it down into the chassis to hold it in place, but made sure that you could get to your SD card in and out with no problems and not have to lift up the board to do that. And I'll go over why I did that here when we put a battery in, because it becomes, there is something that you need to look out for when you're putting a handle in. So with this chassis, I made it all in one, right? So this chassis is all in one piece. It goes all the way up here, and then at the very tip of the chassis, that's actually what's holding your PCBs. It's not a separate holder. And then there's a hole in the chassis right here, the same diameter as this switch, because I put everything in, and then I put the switch housing in. So that literally is what's locking in the chassis, is this guy right here with your 2 switches in it. That's what I did there. Your blade retention is here. So Nevin likes to send these to me a little bit long, and then I get to cut them how I feel is the appropriate length. So what I did was I cut this guy to the point where you only have to back it out a hair when you put a blade in. And then when you put a blade in, you can actually crank this guy down to all the way until it stops. And that's what's going to hold your blade. If you can see it in there, it's just barely sticking in, but that's enough to hold a blade. So I didn't want this guy sticking out here, or you having to mess with it a bunch of turns. I mean, two or three turns puts a blade in, and another two and a half turns locks it in, right? So very quick and easy. Spring side's your negative, right? So make sure you don't ever put your battery in backwards. And we've got that. Everything is lined up properly. It's just tight. So I'll tell you, when I'm putting this handle in, first you're going to get to the part where that first side of the battery right there. So you're going to want to come in here with your finger and just push down on that battery. And you'll get past that part. And then like this. If you ever get to the point, it's not doing it now, which is a good thing. But what was happening to me earlier is I was getting right here on the board, and I had to press down on the board. So I didn't like that. And so that's why I ended up gluing that chassis, or that board, down to the chassis a bit, to prevent you from having to come in and remember me telling you to press the board down every time. But me doing that helped. But the one thing you will have to press is when you get right here, you're gonna have to come in and press that side of the battery up and in the handle. And then the rest of it goes right on. So we'll screw that on. Hopefully that all made sense. If it didn't, let me know. We can talk over messages like we do, right? But activation. Get your Corran horn sound font on this guy, right? Auxiliary. Hold it down for blade lockup. And we'll turn it off. So we're gonna back this out just a hair. Like I said, a couple turns and you're there. And then I'll throw my test blade in it. Without the blade retention engaged, you can feel it bounce up and down on the pins really nice. So that's good, that's what you want. So we'll come in here, we'll lock the blade down. Wake the board back up, right? If I double tap the activation, if I can, let me turn it off real quick. Double tap the activation, you get your sound effects, and we can turn on the blade while it's going. Sounds good. Flash on flash, right? This thing is loud and nasty. Just how you want them. So I'm going to turn the sound effects off real quick, just like that, and then I'll turn the blade back on. This is like every setup I give you, so if you want to change the color, we're going to hold the auxiliary and twist our wrist. Now we can actually twist the hilt and get whatever color we want. So we like a green, we'll tap a button. Now we got green. Now it's green. Right? Very nice. All the usual blade effects that I give you. So hold down the aux and twist our wrist, but then keep the button held down. Keep holding it.
Blade profiles.
Now again, we can twist our wrist, or twist the hilt rather, and cycle through the different blade effects. These are the same blade effects that I put on most of your sabers, so you'll be familiar with them, right? It's just kind of got a disintegrating pre-off. And we'll turn it back off. And then to get to our sound fonts, we'll hold the auxiliary down when the blade is off.
Sound bank selection.
Now we can go up or down with either button. We'll go to Obi-Wan.
This is General Kenobi.
Hold down the button.
Goodness, you're not one to trifle with, are you? Lovely. More smiling faces. Let the negotiations begin.
So everything's working like it should.
You're wasting your time.
And then we'll just back this out a few turns and we'll take this blade right out. Works just like that. Hoping to get this out in the mail to you by tomorrow morning, but that is the functionality of your saber, and I hope it came out the way you like. Thanks, man.